What's up guys, today I'm going to be working on an install video for this 2015 RAV4, specifically this head unit right here. Now this vehicle does belong to my mother and she's been having issues with this unit for the last 6 months, but even worse in the last few days. Now the biggest thing off the bat is the fact that the touchscreen is not responsive to the press of the finger, which is really bad, but then it got even worse when the buttons stopped being responsive, as you can see, and the steering control overall. Now I did go ahead and inspect the fuses to make sure those weren't an issue, because that was the first thing that came to mind, and upon inspection they were perfectly fine, and the biggest giveaway was the fact that this thing was being powered on. So after that I did some research and found a brand on Amazon that had a direct replacement for these 2015 plus RAV4s, and it gives you a brand new unit, OEM fit, and it gives you CarPlay, Android Play, and navigation, another feature if you don't have it, which this vehicle does have, but overall it's a nice touch to it as well when you upgrade the system. So I'm going to do this step-by-step install video to go ahead and get this OEM replacement with the aftermarket system, so stay tuned as I go ahead and do that. Alright, so the purchase I made from Amazon was from the brand Canifo, and overall their packaging has been very satisfactory. They got the extra cushioning, the padding, the wiring in the two separate packages, the installation instructions, and the unit was completely wrapped in bubble wrap. I really like the way they did this because it made sure the unit was arriving safely to the destination, which in this case is my home. And I'm using the packaging as a base layer to go ahead and safely place this on the screen side so I can visually inspect all the different inserts for the wiring. And overall, just a shout out to Canifo because the way they package this item is very secure and I'm very satisfied. I can't wait to get this unit installed on the vehicle. So first thing you want to do is disconnect the negative terminal on the battery, because anytime you work with electrical components on a vehicle, you want to make sure you don't blow a fuse or short circuit it. So disconnect that so there's no power to the system. Once the battery is disconnected, we can go ahead and work on the removal of the trim inside the vehicle. Canifo did provide a pry tool in their packaging, which is very nice in terms of removing the trim pieces on the dashboard. Now the first piece you want to remove when installing this unit is the silver trim piece right here. This is one large piece, so what you're going to do is grab the pry tool and press it along the edges right here and gently pop it off so you don't break any tabs, and go ahead and remove this piece first. Alright, once the trim piece is removed, this is what it should look like. Next, you want to go ahead and remove the hazard button and digital clock that's attached, and as you can see up close, there's yellow tabs right here. So if you grab the pry tool and gently put it right above and push it down, it will clench the yellow tabs together, and then you should be able to pry it off. So do that on both sides, and you see once you push down and you flick, it should pop it off and give you access to removing this digital clock. Now, once you gently pull on it, you'll have access to the harness as well. And what you want to do is you want to remove this harness by pushing the tab down in the middle and disconnecting it. Once you disconnect it, you can move on to the next step. Alright, once that piece is removed, you want to go ahead and work on removing the vents. So you're going to grab the pry tool and press it along the edges here and gently pop this off. And you're going to do the same thing on this side, on the edge between here, and gently pop this off as well. So once the vents are removed, this is what you're left with. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these aside for right now because you're going to need to access these vents for later when transferring them over to the new unit's trim. But in the meantime, this is what it looks like, and you're going to go ahead and grab a 10mm socket, remove the 2 bolts up top and one on each side where the vents were, and this will allow you to take off this unit completely and access the wiring behind it. So once the 4 bolts are removed, you're going to go ahead and firmly grip each side of the unit and gently pull on it so that you can pop off the tabs that are holding it in each corner. And then you're going to use a shop rag to cover this area so that you don't scratch it when you place the unit over, and go ahead and work on removing the wiring harnesses from the back of this head unit. Alright, so here's the unit completely removed, and here's all the wiring harnesses in the back. So as before, you want to go ahead and access all these middle tabs and push them down. And once you push them down, you can pull them apart and they'll disconnect it from the back of the head unit right here. And once you do that, you can go ahead and take this completely off and work on plugging in the new harness that came with the kit. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the unit and unplugged all the wiring harnesses. So one thing to note, you don't have to remove the ones that are on the actual unit itself, like you see right here. These harnesses don't need to be unplugged, only the ones that are into the vehicle. So go ahead and just remove those and put this aside. So off the bat, you can tell the difference between the old unit and the new unit in terms of the size. Now this one's a little bit more bulkier in the back with the back sticking out straight up, whereas this one is more sleek and flat. Now the one thing you need to transfer over from the old unit to the new unit is the yellow tabs in each corner. And as you can see, they're on these like plastic leg pieces, which does come in the new kit, and they are labeled, as you can see, as LD for left down, RT for right top, RD for right down, LT for left top. So let's say if you go ahead and install the right top, for example, it cannot go on incorrectly, because if it does, you'll be able to tell. So for example, if I put this right here, this is the correct way. It's going straight up, and then I'd put the yellow tab on that. But let's say, for example, if I put it upside down, this install will be incorrect because it would be at an angle, which would tell me off the bat I'm installing it incorrectly. So again, you want to make sure you want to follow the right top and left down and right down. And then you want to make sure that it's straight to know that you're properly installing it when putting it on this new unit. Alright, I have all 4 leg pieces installed. Next is to go ahead and transfer the yellow pieces over. Now, I'm going to need 2 hands to do this, but I'm going to show you what you need to do is with both hands, you're going to go ahead and lift on this side, hold this piece, and do the same thing on the other side, and that should allow it to release the clasp and lift this off, so that when you place it on the new one, you can get a satisfying click when you push it down and reinstall all 4 on the new unit. Alright, once the pieces are installed, you're going to go ahead and grab the air vents from the inside of the vehicle that had the original trim on it, and you're going to go ahead and grab a flathead and stick it underneath these 2 tabs right here. And then on the other side, you're going to do the same thing with this tab and the tab right underneath. You can't really see it, but it's right here. And you're going to pry this off so that you can attach them and get them clicked in the 4 tabs right here on the new unit's trim. Alright, once removed, this is what the old vent trims look like. And here's the vents that you're going to be transferring over. So you're going to match it accordingly to the right side and click them in, and then you'll be done with the transfer from the old unit to the new. One thing to note before installing the vent is that there's a cover for the adjustment scroll. So what you need to do is on the inner side, there's a tab, as you can see on the edge over there. You lift that and it'll pop off the cover. That way when you install the vent, the adjustment scroll can feed right through and it won't be blocked by the cover on the new unit. Alright, we're officially done with transferring everything over. This is what it should look like from the back side, and then when you lift it up, this is what it should look like from the front, and ready for the next step, which is the wiring. So the reason I went with this model is because a lot of the wiring is plug and play, and they did note that a lot of the ports are different for the Toyota models. You can choose different ports according to your model. So for this model, it should be plug and play, and the rule of thumb I'm going to follow is the pin size as well as the plastic clip size to match the plug and play with the kit that they provided. Now there is extra features such as an extra USB adapter cable. If you already have one from the factory, it's going to reuse that one, but you can also add an additional one, which is pretty cool. There are other features as well, like the backup camera, which they did not include in this kit because I didn't need it. I already have one on this vehicle. But you can also go ahead and follow the diagram to add up a backup camera as well if your vehicle doesn't have one, which is pretty cool. But rule of thumb I'm going to follow, as I mentioned, was plug and playing with the factory plugs that I already have. And of course, not all of them are going to be utilized because every model is different, as it said, and it's a little bit universal in that sense. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in what I can, and then I'll show what I've done so far. Alright, I got majority of the harnesses plugged in. Now to go over the additional ones. So we got the 2 USB cables with a 4-pin and 6-pin. Again, I'm going to stick to the one from factory right there. So if I do decide to use one of these, I'm going to use the 6-pin over the 4-pin one and attach that probably into the glove box. The next wiring to go over is going to be this yellow cable that has a harness to the end of it. This goes to the backup camera video. And as you can see from these two right here, there's 2 additional yellow plugs. And you're probably wondering which one does it go into. So the way to find out the answer to that is following the yellow cables to the harnesses and seeing which one is used and which one isn't. So as you can see, this right one is into an empty plug. And then if you follow the left one goes into the harness that's already plugged in. So that's the one I'm going to use to get my video for the backup camera. The next wiring you want to focus on is this cable, which goes connected to the unit right here. And this is the box to get the signal for the GPS and navigation system, which you can mount it up here, or which in my case, I'm going to mount it in here. That way it's not going to be interfered by any metal, and it's still going to be sleek and OEM factory design, where it won't have any excess cables or boxes sticking out of the dash, and it's going to be all internal. The one other wiring to go over is this microphone. Now this unit has a built-in mic on the front of it, right around here. As you can see, it says mic. But if you wanted to get a clearer sound, you can connect this to the back of the unit and then feed the wiring out and mount the microphone somewhere around here where it's still hidden but also gives you a clear voice output to whoever you're speaking to or the unit. Also, one more thing to note, these 2 wires are not going to be used because they're going to be the navigation and the XM radio for the previous unit, which are going to be built in. from the box and the additional harnesses being plugged in already in the unit. Alright, here's the final product with all the harnesses connected. Now I'm going to clean up the wiring, put it back together, reinstall the dash pieces, reconnect the battery, and test the new product out. Alright, here's what the unit looks like once everything is put back together. Just like factory OEM, go ahead and power it up and test out the new features. Alright, here's the screen of the vehicle powered on. Now this is the main screen that you'll be seeing. There's the video, music, radio. Let's see, radio. It has the different stations you can navigate through here, the settings, Bluetooth, and if you swipe to the right, these are the default apps that the system comes with. If you plug in the USB device, you can go ahead and insert music, video files, and have access to the internet if connected to the Wi-Fi or hotspot, the Play Store to download apps, which is pretty neat, the YouTube app, which you can also access, again, with hotspot or Wi-Fi connection, and then the themes, you can adjust different themes that you want besides the default one on the device right now. And then if you go back, this screen at the very end, this tab right here, this is the CarPlay. So you can have Android Play, CarPlay, and if you hit this, this is the screen mirroring, but if you toggle it off, it's the actual device connected to the Bluetooth. And I went ahead and already connected my device, so look, it's going to auto sync in. Let's see if it does so. It's probably going to bring my phone completely on here. I don't know if it's... Alright, so as expected, it did stop the recording of the video, but we are connected to the head unit now, and we got Android Play on the screen. Here's Spotify currently open. We got quick access to Waze, Spotify, phone app, WhatsApp, microphone, and if you double tap this, it's the main screen of the device as well. This is really cool because a lot of devices nowadays do not come with wireless CarPlay. They come with wired CarPlay via USB, but this unit comes with wired, wireless, and screen mirroring, which allows you to mirror whatever's on your phone screen onto the big screen. So this is very cool. Definitely the bang for your buck, easy to install with a quick connect, and honestly definitely worth the upgrade if you don't have something like this on your vehicle. I hope you guys enjoyed the step-by-step video on how to install this aftermarket head unit. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to drop them down below, but until next time, Extreme out.